What famous place is not worth visiting? Hollywood Walk of Fame. It's a sidewalk, and outside of maybe big events where they may clean the ones around where photos may be taken, it otherwise is just covered in dirt from people's shoes, and some are barely legible because they haven't been cleaned in ages. Haha, this is the answer for sure. Every time I'm in LA and someone wants to go, I'm like, look, whatever's in your head, keep that image, it's just better, I promise. That being said, walking it and finding stars is kinda fun if you have to walk that street anyways. Like it's a fun street to walk, just a terrible place to have as a destination. My recommendation to anyone who wants to see the Walk of Fame during their visit: make it a stopover. Your destination should be something nearby. Personally, I'm a fan of getting a ticket at the Chinese theater. If you are a movie person, see something on its opening weekend. The theater will be full of film buffs who all are into whatever genre movie it is. You will have a great time, the energy is palpable. After that, go for a stroll down the Walk of Fame to stretch your legs and look around. The entire experience will be much more positive if you see it as a simple sight rather than a destination unto itself. Plymouth Rock in Plymouth, Massachusetts. It's literally just a small rock. It's not even the real thing. It was brought there just to have something symbolic to look at, but no one has any clue where the Pilgrims landed in Plymouth. It wasn't even their first landing. They landed in Cape Cod and found it easier to set up camp in Plymouth. I work close to Times Square in Manhattan. If you have an ad blocker on your computer, you will hate Times Square. Are they skippable at least? Ha. 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 But really, I like living in NYC, but there are so many better places within it to visit. Niagara Falls is a really cool sight, but it's not worth a trip if you're staying on the American side. The Canadian side is way better and has more things to do. I live 15 minutes from Niagara Falls, and our family was talking about this just yesterday. There's a major international tourist attraction right on their doorstep, but the city of Niagara Falls, New York, is a crime-ridden dump. I used to work a couple of blocks from the Rainbow Bridge on the US side. Honestly, the falls are the only thing to see there, and while the Canadian falls are higher and way more impressive, that's where it ends. A Canadian of my acquaintance once accurately described Niagara Falls as a Canadian take on Tijuana, Egypt. It's like if phone scams were a materialized location. You get there and right away the airport is going to start scamming you, take your electronics away and tell you that you need permits for them, which they will gladly sell you, and then tell you that it's the wrong one and have you buy another one. The hotel you stay at will check your bags again like the airport did and again tell you that you need permits, or whatever random thing they decide they can get away telling you needs one. The police will extort money from you if they think they can. Fake police will come up to you and fine you or tell you to follow them to different sites where they will charge you. Children will run up to you and ask if you want to ride their camel very aggressively. They will cut you off with their camel and not let you move forward, tell you it's free, and then try to charge you insane amounts of money and call their camel pimp over to deal with you if you don't pay. If you don't get on the camel, they will often even get the camel to attack you. It's all pretty wild, it's not worth it. While the Louvre is amazing and can consume entire days of walking, don't bother fighting the crowds to see the Mona Lisa. It's tiny and has a crowd of tourists dozens deep all taking pictures. No flash photography. Be damned. So all you see is flash reflecting off the protective glass. Also, rumor has it that the real Mona Lisa is in a basement, and that the one you see is just a very convincing replica. I went to the Louvre in 2009, and the painting opposite the Mona Lisa was significantly more impressive. A 20-foot-tall canvas encompassing the entire wall. Was a very detailed painting of a courtroom if I remember right. Spent more time looking at that cause I could barely see the Mona Lisa through the crowds. Plymouth Rock. I don't know how famous it really is outside of New England, but it's a rock that marks where the Pilgrims supposedly first landed in Massachusetts. It is quite literally just a medium-sized rock with 1620 carved in it, but every elementary school teacher around Massachusetts at least hypes it up for the class field trip to see a literal rock that is not big, impressive, or really historically relevant. Driving an hour on a bus to see this was the most anticlimactic thing, and I would not particularly recommend. Checkpoint Charlie in Berlin. It used to be the border between the US and Soviet sectors, but all that's left of it is a shack and a sign, and the only thing you can do is pay to get your photo taken with someone in uniform. There's a frickin' McDonald's next to it. I was looking for this, God, it was disappointing. I seem to recall there was a really badly dressed soldier who you could take pictures with for €5. Quite enjoyed the DDR museum though. Leaning Tower of Pisa, just a small town without much going on, then a ton of tourists pretending to hold it up. Go to Florence instead. Pisa should be done as a train day trip from Florence. Within that mentality, Pisa is a great town. See the tower with the baptistry and crypts, then the university gardens, then back to the train for dinner in Florence. Mall of America. It's literally just a giant mall with the same stores as a small mall. Sometimes even the same store twice. I actually really loved it, and I enjoyed that it was never packed any time I went, summer of 2019. However, if you are traveling just to see the mall, then you will probably be in for a world of disappointment. It was just something we hit along the way a couple times. Hollywood. I don't mean in the colloquial sense, but rather the actual neighborhood. The neighborhood includes the Walk of Fame and the Chinese Theater. The neighborhood is sketchy, dirty, filthy, disorganized, high crime, and just plain icky, and has been that way since at least the 1950s. The absolute worst period was from the mid-1970s to the mid-1990s, but the neighborhood just sucks less today. Hell, there's a big reason that the residents of West Hollywood literally seceded from any association with the Hollywood community, and formed their own municipality in 1984. There are plenty of fun entertainment industry-related things to do throughout the Los Angeles area, in Hollywood, as the world understands it. Just not Hollywood proper.